Hi, everyone. 86% of young Americans say they want to be an influencer when they grow up. They hear of streamers bringing in $15 million a year from their basements, streaming on Twitch, or the Kylie Jenners of the world posting from private jets and sharing their face contouring makeup lines and making the billionaire list. It looks so easy, doesn't it? My name is Tilghman. I used to be an influencer. I was a wellness influencer. I shared recipes, my yoga journey, self-help tips. I had 378,000 Instagram followers, a six-figure salary, a team of people working below me, and all the fame, attention, and success you're supposed to want in life. I got hundreds, thousands of DMs a day from my fans telling me how much they loved me and how much I was helping them. They even came up with a little nickname like the Swiftie, but for my community. But as I promoted smoothie bowls, sobriety, exercise, and meditation, my mental health had never been worse. It got so bad that in 2019, after 4 consecutive years of posting on my blog and Instagram, Lee from America, I shut it down and I went offline. I was barely functioning. I had one friend, rarely saw my family, and I spent up to 16 hours a day on my phone. I was paranoid, burnt out. My OCD and eating disorder had come back, and I was constantly stressed about my online community and how much they liked me. I was canceled for selling tickets that some people deemed were too expensive. I was scrutinized for anything I said and everything I didn't say. I was trolled, bullied, and harassed and held to an impossible standard that was unfair and not rooted in reality. People loved to hate me. The more popular I got, they wrote nasty comments under my photos. And mind you, it wasn't anything political. I would just be sharing about my dog, and people would say, "You're raising your dog wrong." I was viewed as a product, not a human. When I walked away, nobody could understand. But that's the dream job. You were just working from home and going on vacations, posting beach pics. If only they knew. The content creators of the world are not okay. The platforms are designed for you to spend all day long on them. You get addicted to the likes, seeing the follower count rise, and the high of virality. On a day-to-day, during my Instagram years, if I got 20,000 likes per photo, that was a bad day, because once I got 60,000 likes, I wanted every photo to get 60,000. So when I had an eating disorder, I used to count my calories, and then I began to count my likes and equate that to my self-worth. And I was 28 at the time. I was not a teenager. This is when I was in my 20s. I was given a false sense of security, of validation, and then my community flipped on me one day and I was suicidal. I wanted to take my own life because I viewed my Instagram community as the thing that I lived for, that I worked so hard to build. It was everything to me. It was my income, my community. In exchange for your sanity and your life, the tech platforms give you a false sense of validation. They sell the dream, offer the service, and we all ruin our lives trying to get there. Meanwhile, a small percentage at the top get to enjoy the fruits of our addiction, the hours spent in search of dopamine hits. In our extremely online culture, are we really more connected? I'm happy to say that I'm no longer an influencer. I have a beautiful, balanced life, a normal way of making money. I'm a freelance copywriter, a loving in-person community, and I'm a present auntie to my beautiful niece and nephew. But I hope my story can help anyone else who may be feeling similarly. The glitzy life of an influencer is not real, and it comes at a deep cost. Thank you.
Hi there. I'm Mary Rodee. Today, I stand before you as a concerned citizen and advocate for online safeguards, a worried elementary school teacher, but mostly a surviving mother, forever haunted by an irreplaceable loss. I connect to the word surviving since there's no escape from this living nightmare. I'll never move past it or get over it. I'm just suffering the heartache that comes with having a severed love line. I'm here to share with you the story of my son, Riley. Oh, I thought his picture would be up there. Yeah, there he is. Riley was the life of the party, a joyful, funny kid. He loved sports, farming. He dreamed of a job in environmental conservation. He was brave, though. He took a lot of risks. Like a lot of teenagers, he was very impulsive. His laughter was infectious, his spirit boundless. He could find humor in the ordinary. But on March 30th, 2021, that spirit was extinguished. At just 15 years, 9 months, and 27 days old, Riley's life was tragically cut short by a sinister force he encountered on Facebook. A criminal halfway across the world friended Riley, manipulated him into sharing revealing photos, and then using those pictures blackmailed him. In a few torturous hours, overwhelmed by fear, uncertainty, and shame, too young to see any way out, Riley chose to end his life. We have an expansive and diverse family in a rural college town. I live north of the Adirondack Mountains, just south of Ottawa, on a farm that's been in our family for generations. Riley has 2 biological siblings and 9 step-siblings. He's my youngest child. He did grow up fast, exposed to a lot of life at an early age. We've been through so much as a family, but we had the talks. We battled depression and anxiety with our kids. We suffered the loss of friends by suicide, a nephew from irresponsible teenage behavior, accidents. We have kids with IEPs. We have kids in therapy. Our kids do the sports and the musicals. We put in the time. We had the talks. We are available. Riley has a vast support system, 8 biological aunts and uncles, their spouses, his grandparents, some of whom live next door. He was loved by his coaches, his teachers, friends, and their parents. And I know in my broken heart that he knew I would do anything for him. And even with this life so full of love, realness, acceptance, support, someone still got to him through Facebook, and only 6 hours scared him to death. The investigations by the New York State Police and the FBI, they were able to locate the terrorists who took my baby, but the sad truth, the perpetrators remain unaccountable. The FBI investigators tell us there's nothing they can do because the US doesn't do business with that country. Yet every minute these criminal murderers come into our country and do business with our children. And while they are the immediate culprits, it's platforms like Facebook that provide them the tools and access to prey on innocent souls like my Riley. And Riley's not alone. Thousands of parents worldwide are waking up to the grim reality of how perilous Meta's products can be for their children. I'm regularly contacted by parents trying to navigate the fallout from their child's sexploitation. Like, they think I'm an expert. They want help. They want answers. And the best I can do is give them some reporting tools, tell them to praise their child for coming to them, and then really help them realize that it's unlikely they will ever have any resolution. As a teacher, I'm so scared to see kids placed on computers as part of general education practices while teachers have absolutely no tools to protect them. So many are fooled by the fragile facade of social media, lulled into a false feeling of autonomy, security, until one day your whole world comes crashing down. Healthy fears keep kids safe. There's not a fear of what is happening as we allow devices to become an extension of our person, even the youngest children. Riley's life, his dreams, his future, they're not just collateral damage in the world of big tech and business. He's my son, and there are countless Rileys out there, teetering on the edge, vulnerable to the next online predator or scam. Harmful big tech practices killed my child. Provisions like the duty of care component of the Kids Online Safety Act could have prevented Riley's death. Protecting children online is not a job for parents or educators or police officers. It is impossible for parents and teachers like me to be equipped to fight this. This isn't a sporadic issue, it's a systemic one. We need real safeguards. We need COSA. Let's demand safety, transparency, and accountability for Riley, for David, for Carson, for all of our children. Thank you.
I'm Maureen Molak, and on January the 4th, 2016, my entire world crumbled. That day, my 16-year-old son, David, died by suicide. That day, part of me died with him. The year leading up to David's death was a living hell. David had fractured his back from overuse from playing too much basketball. And while he was rehabbing and his physical activity was restricted, he was using social media and online gaming to fill the void. Gradually, over a period of time, we saw his behavior completely change. He was sneaking around, using his devices and playing games when he wasn't supposed to. He would get angry and aggressive when we tried to get him to stop. He was lying about completing his schoolwork, and he was stealing from us in order to buy virtual assets to increase his player power. And even after David was medically cleared to go back to play basketball, the sport that he had loved and lived and breathed for probably 10 years and was really, really good at, he didn't want to. He'd rather sit behind a screen. And that's when the cyberbullying started. For months, David endured threatening videos, posts, and comments, such as put him in a body bag, put him 6 feet under. They called him an ape and a psycho, and told him he should never go back to school. The night before David died, he was added into a GroupMe with a bunch of phone numbers that he didn't have in his contacts, where they posted insulting comments about his looks and his mental health, and then they kicked him out. The facts. David was depressed. He knew there was something wrong with his online behavior, but he could not control himself. We knew he was showing signs of addiction, but we couldn't find anyone who was professionally equipped to be able to help us with that specific issue. David found his identity in his online persona, his gaming status, which contributed to a lack of resilience to deal with the cyberbullying. The cyberbullying was cruel and devastating, and it left David feeling helpless and hopeless. I have spent the last almost 8 years advocating for cyberbullying legislation in Texas called David's Law, but it's not enough. I know that screen addiction, social media and online gaming overuse is tearing the fabric of many families apart. It is often pitting parents against kids and kids against parents, just like it did in my family. What we need is federal legislation that requires these digital platforms to put common sense safeguards in place to protect minors from online harms like cyberbullying, to regulate microtransactions and financial transactions by minors, and to ensure that they're operating their platforms without encouraging addictive-like behaviors in young people. And we have got to do more to protect the mental health of future generations. Doing nothing is not an option. Staying silent is not an option. And I refuse to do either, because that is David's legacy.